Hey, how's it going? It's Mr. O. I'm here to give you a little background information about the California Gold Rush. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a great time. I'm sorry that I look a little dusty. To be honest, raising a kid can be a little difficult sometimes. Not all the time, just a little bit. Just a little bit difficult sometimes. So bear with me as we get through this. All right, so before 1840, very little people actually lived in California. When I say people, I mean the American people. But there was trade between Mexico and the United States. Then Mexico allowed a man called John Sutter move there in 1839 and to establish a colony. From there, more Americans started moving over. As settlers moved toward John Sutter's colony in order to go there and to live, there was one group that was called the Donner Party that actually died in a snowstorm, and they were caught in Sierra Nevada's mountains. Unfortunately, about half of the people died. Some of them starved to death, and others were just too hungry to survive. Then in 1848, at Sutter's Hill, gold was discovered, and with that, thousands upon thousands of Americans moved to California in the hopes of making it big. That's right, they were hoping to make it rain. They were gonna go there and make big dollar bills, baby. I'm gonna go down there and make big money, making big money. What kind of money? Making big money, big money, big money. Yeah, big money. Whoa, baby, big money, big money. During the year 1849, 80,000 49ers, people who moved to California in 1849. You get it? So anyone watches football? San Francisco 49ers, huh? Yeah? Yeah? 49ers. So during 1849, 80,000 49ers moved to California in the hopes of making it big and making a bunch of money in the California Gold Rush. The population of San Francisco in particular grew from 800 to 25,000. Now, there are multiple ways in order to go and find gold during the California Gold Rush. If you were broke and poor, didn't have much, what essentially you do is you take a dish, you scoop up the water with a bunch of rocks in it, and you try to filter and sort it out and try to get your little fine minerals, right? That's what you try to do, get out of it. Now, if you had a bunch of money, I'm talking about big dollar bills, baby, big dollar bills, talking about the big bucks, baby, the big bucks. If you had a lot of money, here's what you would do. You would go and literally get machines and dig tunnels and trenches, and you go down and down and keep digging and digging to get all that stuff out. You pay your miners very, very little money, and you would basically exploit them in order for yourself to make the most amount of money. That's just how it worked. So even though thousands of people went to California in the hopes of making it big and making a bunch of money, unfortunately for most of them, they just walked away with debt. Like me. Now, they have these things called mining camps. It's basically just people who mine together and have these camps. You know, it's like camping. You go outside and you hang out in the tents. But out of this were thousands of immigrants coming in. So you had people from China, you had people from Europe, you had people from the east side of America and South America, all hopes of trying to make it big and make a bunch of money. So many of them found work by supplying basic needs to people who would go down into the actual mines, right, into the tunnels. Some of them will do things like washing clothes, some of them would do stuff like cooking, or some of them would just do basic stuff like literally building materials that they needed to go down into the mines. One example was Biddy Mason, right? They were one of the people who would cook or clean and do those type of things for people who would go down into the mines. Now, they were a slave from Georgia that were brought over from Georgia to California, and that's what they did. Now, they were able to work and get themselves free, and then after that, they became one of the wealthiest landowners in California. So I guess, a little bit of a victory there. They made it. They made it big. Now, what impact did it have in California? So the 49ers brought upon a huge impact of population. Again, the population grew from 800 to 25,000. Because of so many Americans moving to California, it made California the 31st state to join in 1850. And then after the gold rush started to end and nobody was really making money, Californians switched to ranching and just farming. Now, while there was a lot of money still being made with ranching and farming and people who did make money with the gold, California essentially was not really connected to the rest of America until 1869 with the Transcontinental Railroad. This is my question to ask all of you. All right, what consequence or action of the gold rush do you think made California into a state? Anyway, this is Mr. O, and that's the end of this video. All right. Bye.
I fooled you!